I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please take a moment of silence. Before we begin, if you have not done so already, please silence cell phones or put them on vibrate. And I will begin with the roll call, beginning with Commissioner Culbertson.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
I'm here. Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Stevens.
Here.
We are all present and accounted for. Public comment. We have Joe Herring signed up for public comment today.
Morning, Commissioners. Joe Herring, Herring Surveying, 315 North 5th Street. Have one plat that's not on consent agenda. The owner and I are here if you do have specific questions on that. But I did talk with staff, and at first I was concerned why it was pulled off, but they advised us that that is just the regulation that is now being enforced, that all plats with exceptions will be heard not on the consent agenda, so as an item up here. So just want to let you know we're here for any answers during that time if you have questions.
Thank you. All right. Sir, you'll be at the end of the meeting. Thank you. We're going to move on to administrative business. Mr. Lothar, do you have anything today?
Commissioners, just wanted to give you an update on the JCAB. I know there's apparently some confusion on that. The board adopted the resolution that formed our own JCAB. We will have, hopefully by next week, we'll have some appointments for you to review, and then we'll put on the following week for approval. But until we get appointments from all the entities, there won't be a need for a JCAB meeting until we have all those appointments. So I expect it would probably be later in October before we would schedule anything. Again, just kind of depends on when everybody can get their appointments. But all entities have been notified.
Okay, and the email that was received that has created some confusion, have we sorted through that?
Because we didn't initiate the email, I don't know what the intent is behind it. I did respond a few weeks ago that, again, the current joint JCAB no longer exists. The board of Leavenworth County has decided to pull out of that, so I'm not familiar with it. I really couldn't tell you.
Thank you.
Commissioner, I did note the last email I saw noted that there would be no county representation at that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else? Commissioner Culbertson, do you have anything, Admin?
Nope.
Commissioner Smith?
No, ma'am.
I have nothing for Admin.
I just want to remind everybody that Linda French passed away, and I read the obituary. She was involved in so many things, Sweet Adelines and selling real estate and being in the political arena. She was a real go-getter, so she will be missed.
Well, if we're going to acknowledge loss, I would like to recognize that Commissioner Mike Smith lost his sister this past week, and our condolences go out to
Thank you, Vicki.
Mike and his family.
Thank you.
Okay, the consent agenda. Is there anything that needs to be pulled from the consent agenda today? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Madam Chair, I'm going to make a motion we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
The motion is second. Begin voting with Commissioner Culbertson.
Aye.
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 Carries. All right. Board action. We need to consider a motion to approve case number DEV 092 and 093, preliminary and final plat for Sunnyside Estates second. Go right ahead.
Morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners.
What you have before you here today is a preliminary and final plat for a 3-lot cross-access easement subdivision containing about 35 acres. Lots going from 7.5 acres to just over 18 acres. It's a 2.5 zoning district. It is the second and final phase of this particular subdivision. The Planning Commission voted 7-0 to approve this particular subdivision. They did also approve a singular exception to the subdivision regulations, that being the lot to depth ratio. And with that exception, they did move to approve. So with that, I don't have any additional information, but I'm available for questions, and I believe the developer is here as well.
Anybody have any questions?
No,
John?
the Planning Commission approved it. So.
I have none.
I have no questions. Okay, then I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve case number DEV 092 and 093, preliminary and final plat for Sunnyside Estates second.
I'll second it.
Motion is second. Begin voting with Commissioner Culbertson.
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, now we need to consider a motion to approve case number DEV-23-102 and 103, preliminary and final plat for Dodge Addition.
Madam Chair, this is a 2-lot subdivision, approximately 31 acres. It is a Class C subdivision. It is rural residential 5 zoned. Planning Commission again voted 8-0 to approve this particular subdivision, with the singular exception being there are existing accessory structures on both of these lots once it's subdivided that exceed the 600 square foot rule, but they are truly ag, and staff supported that exception. And again, the Planning Commission granted that exception as part of their approval. With that, I'd answer any questions.
No. It's down there on Cantrell.
Yeah.
Road.
Your motion.
County Road 1. So. Madam Chair, I move that we approve case number DEV 23-102 and 103, preliminary and final plat for the Dodge Addition.
Second.
Motion is second. Begin voting with Commissioner Culbertson.
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
That's in your district.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Well, I usually try to keep it in your district.
Thank you very much. We
I
need
just know the folks.
for this, or we're going to consider a motion to approve Board Order 2023-5, approving the disaster relief tax abatement for buildings listed in Exhibit A as provided.
Morning.
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 I have 2 properties here that were destroyed by fire in 2023. First one is a home. Second one is a manufactured home. It was in a manufactured home park that were destroyed by fire. KSA 79-1613 allows the Board of County Commissioners to abate the taxes. We prorate the taxes from the date of disaster. And so I'm presenting this to you to abate the taxes on these 2 properties. We have one other property that is waiting, but we're waiting on some more information from the owner on a third property. But so I have these 2 before you today.
Any questions for Mr. Weber?
Oh, so they can both be under the same board order? Or they got to be out
Same
separate?
board order, yes.
Same, okay.
Yep.
They're in your
Okay, motion to approve Board Order 2023-5, approving the disaster relief tax abatement for buildings listed in Exhibit A as provided.
Second.
Motion is second. Begin voting with Commissioner Culbertson.
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Weber. And then we are moving on, and you're up next.
Okay.
We have the quarterly
That was fast.
quarterly report for the county appraiser under presentations and discussions today.
The quarterly report, we just been down to 6,194 parcels. You can see the numbers there for various reasons. 17% reinspection is quite a few of them, and we're almost finished up with that. We'll finish up within the next couple of weeks of doing that. We have to review every property every 6 years, so that's that 17% comes up to by law. Personal property, I usually have, I'm giving this a little early this year, I usually have final numbers. I don't have the final numbers on the certification for that, the final certification, but they will certify either Friday or Monday, depending on when the clerk is available for that. We'll be ready for that. Sales are down. They started dropping the end of last year. The numbers of sales. Interest rates are up, and there's a lot of people, not wanting to move. They're sitting on lower interest rate loans, 2.5%, 3%, and interest rates are 7% now. So, the prices, if you look at the average sale prices, the prices aren't down. We've seen no evidence of the prices of dropping. I put the average sale prices there. You need to take that a little bit. I'm not saying there's a 5% increase from last year to this year. That's just average sale price increase. There's usually a different mix of properties that sell. Sometimes more newer properties are selling than older properties. But it does follow a general trend. When prices are increases, the average sale prices go up and that sort of thing.
Mr. Weber, I had a question for you. Do you suspect that's because of inventory? Is the reason the prices are not tracking with the?
Yeah, there's I don't think I keep on hearing there's just not a lot of homes for sale on the market. They do have some buyers, but people aren't moving. People aren't selling their homes.
So therefore,
they're just
you can ask a premium.
And I think there is some demand, but until you get an oversupply, the prices won't drop until you get a situation like that of homes. And so you can see what it's done over the last few years. I guess this kind of falls to what we're seeing is while they're not dropping, they're certainly not increasing at the rates we've seen over the last few years. We're not, so the valuation increases. I mean, we do have some building, but the building, as I point out down here, is dropped off some too. The valuation increases. We're not going to see the kind of valuation increases that we have in the past couple of years, 3 years probably, anywhere as close. And like I said, the number of building permits are lower. I presented you here a sales ratio, and I need to explain it a little bit. First, I just used the second and third quarters of this year. I did not use the first quarter. One of the reasons I did not use the first quarter is, those listings are out there when we set the value. So if it has, if we need to fix some data on the interior that we don't know about, those sorts of things. I did. These are homes that have sold, and I only use homes where we, didn't find out the basement was finished, that sort of thing. I mean, it's this point of this is not to say how good we're doing on all properties. The point of this is to show where we're at, our values are at according to the sale prices, versus kind of give an indication of where we need to go for next year. Is the point I'm presenting this like this, and last year, the last few years, these numbers would have been down in the 80s, and we're about 95, 96% across the board on these. So those aren't indicating that the values will be increasing a lot. Substantial compliance. Over a year ago, there was some discussion as far as what the state of Kansas oversight has over us. And I presented to you a whole list of areas that they do compliance audits on us. And so I just decided to present, we just received this a week or two ago, the compliance audit for 2023 values. And it shows the point systems, and it shows the whole, every category, and those are the categories I went through, and those are the categories they check on as procedural and for sales ratio. The sales ratios are not 2023 values; those are 2022 because they don't have 2023s won't be available till next year this time because they got to wait for the whole year to be done and gather sales throughout the year. But and you can see we received all the points on them, so on the categories, and then I just included the letter. I don't know if you guys get the letter or not.
I did get the letter. I thought that was a pretty impressive letter to recognize you and your staff on how accurate you appraise property.
Absolutely.
I'd like to see that letter printed in the paper, John, because we get so many complaints that the appraiser's way off, they don't know what they're doing, and you just passed with flying colors here at the property valuation division.
Yep.
I mean, I think this really speaks highly of Mr. Weber and his staff.
I agree.
Yes.
That's just not our opinion, so.
One thing on that report that I'd like to point out that I think stands out to me that seems like it might be skewed because of the county, that if you go to the first page of that compliance review, 93.9% of our total value, appraised value is residential, 6.1% is commercial.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a low percentage of commercial for the county. I think that's, when people talk about property taxes, there are a lot of the counties around us that have a much higher percentage of commercial, which we all know is taxed at a different rate as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Most of our commercial is tax exempt, I guess is the point.
Yes.
And the Property Valuation Division of the state of Kansas is the one making this evaluation of your office, not the county commissioners.
That's correct. That's correct.
So that's.
They do every county.
I mean, that's important for folk. I think people get confused about that they think the commissioners are somehow your accountability, and that's not true.
Oh, you mean the stuff they post that says that we tell the county appraiser what we need, and that's what he sets the rates at? Okay.
So the point is on the state oversight is we finance schools with a statewide mill levy. And so every county has to have the same procedures, same standards to achieve. Otherwise, one county may be paying a lot less towards the schools than another.
And property taxes is the primary way our public schools are funded, correct?
That's correct.
This is by statute.
And it's been that way for years and years and years.
Biggest user of property
I
taxes.
know that some state representatives are the ones saying that the county commissioners tell the appraiser what percentage to increase property valuations.
So we need to get that straightened out.
We need to educate our state representatives. I don't know how many times I've heard it. I know you all heard it too.
Yes.
I'm not just the only one that hears it. But anyway, I thought it was interesting. In 1973, the valuation of property in Leavenworth County has increased 4.7% in the last year, according to the county assessor. Consistent pattern of growth in the county. Farmland is disappearing, residential is taking over. That was in 1973. So.
The trend continues.
Well, I mean, I think the gist of it is the ag ground is not being taxed ag ground now. It's residential, and that's where we're getting our increases. But 4.7% back in 73.
Correct me, Mark, if I'm wrong. It looks, though, from the last report I saw from the housing market, that Leavenworth County is leading in putting up residents compared to the other cities. Is that incorrect or is that correct?
So according to new home construction reports, Leavenworth County in the rural area is building more homes than any of the cities in the county. And then Leavenworth County, there are no counties in the metro area that have built more homes in the rural area than Leavenworth County. I think there's one that had the same number of new homes built, but none have built more than Leavenworth County.
That tells me we're doing something right.
People want to live here.
Yeah.
So we need to focus on our strengths, not our weaknesses.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark.
That's all I have.
Anybody have anything else for Bob?
Well, I think this letter
We're just
pretty
really
much sums
impressed
it
with your
up.
department and the work that you're doing.
Yeah, right.
Very much appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the parade of homes is this weekend, just in case people weren't aware, and Leavenworth County is included
buy a
in that.
house.
No, I heard that on the radio this morning, and they were talking about the shortage, or
Didn't know there was any empty
that-
houses.
that there aren't very many, and so within the metropolitan area, that there are more
Didn't,
homes being sought than for sale.
Last year before, one of Don Wilming's homes was number one. And,
Over.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And the prices they were talking about ranged from $2.5 million down to $250,000, so it's a huge range.
It is.
But anyway, wasn't trying to advertise for the parade of homes. I was just saying that they were just discussing the fact that there are, and with all of the things that are happening in the metropolitan area, like the Panasonic and things, that there are not enough homes at this time to meet the needs. So, it just kind of builds, and it builds on what the interest rates are right now, all those things, and so.
Look for homes to increase in value.
Yes.
And sell prices.
Yep.
People got to have a place to live.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and move down to public comment before we do our presentations as the board. So right now we have, let's see, Mr. Vernon. Steve?
You doing public comment?
Yeah, public comment. We had Steve Vernon. Asked to come for public comment. No, sir, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah.
Go ahead. It's fine. I need you to give us your name and address, please.
My name is Ralph Wiggins. I live 12151 DeSoto Road, Linwood. I live right at the corner of DeSoto Road and Green. And this little corner has been a problem. Trucks come through there, and they can't make the curve. And the trailer will fall off, and they of course have KCP and they'll come out and take the line down. And a couple of wreckers come out and pull it out. This has happened 4 times since I've lived there. And I'd like to either see it closed down to tractor trailers or some signs, because these guys don't know. Google tells them to go down that road, and once they're in that curve, they're just there. There's nothing you can do about it. So, I mean, it doesn't affect me that much, but it just seems like the right thing to do, to at least warn them. So, I don't know what signs cost. I know there was a lowboy that got struck on the track, and after that a sign was put up warning, about that. So, that's what I'd like to see done. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Public Works.
Okay. All right, well, then we'll go ahead and kind of give an update of what transpired this past week. Mr. Culverson, you have anything to share?
I don't have anything this week.
What? Jesus. Okay. That startled me. When I'm ready, I'm for Jeff to do that. Just a couple things. Had the opportunity to meet with the Lansing City Council, or the governing body, last Thursday, and give a presentation on local ad valorem tax and things that are going on with the state. Showed the film that the County Commissioner Association has put out, which is an excellent film. After it was all said and done, the governing body instructed their city administrator, Tim Vandal, to prepare a letter to send out to all our legislators in this area, saying they 110% support refunding and going back to where we were before. So I guess it was very positive. A lot of things people still just don't know from the people in the audience that were there, that people just don't know still, so we just got to keep driving it home. The other thing I'd recommend to other county commissioners is to, if you have a city or even an unincorporated city in your thing that has a governing body, I'd sure get on their agenda and talk to them, because I think that's one of the best ways in the world to get that out, or have someone do it. I know Jeff is, I think, prepared it, done a little bit, but I'm telling you, everywhere, guys, and gals, it just...
Sign the letter of support.
Yeah, it just to have it out there where the paper picked it up and where they see it on Channel 2, and then have people, where people can ask you questions. I got a lot of questions off that just from people saying that people still don't know, so it's very, very, very important. And that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay. Well, let's see. For myself, last Friday, I attended the forum that General Beagle had done for Fort Leavenworth at the World War II Museum. And it was a very productive meeting, and I was glad that I was able to attend. And I think that it will kind of open some doors for more communication between the County Commission and Fort Leavenworth.
Good.
Following that, I went in a part of the Camp Leavenworth, participated as a volunteer for that. And then yesterday we had the Workforce Partnership CEO board meeting. And there was some discussion over just kind of increasing the number of services and programs that are available within our jurisdiction and the programs that are offered through the Workforce Partnership. So I think we probably need to begin to put out a little bit more information on that so people know really what is available, especially for displaced workers. And then last evening I attended the City of Leavenworth City Commission meeting. So that's it.
I did hear some good feedback on your presentation. A lot of people are really shocked that the county is not being sent that money. And their taxes are going up while the state holds on to that money.
Yeah.
So,
It went
like
well.
you, like I said, City of Baser signed on this. I mean, I don't know who the City of Tonganoxie is on this.
I haven't heard.
Okay, well, we need to get everybody on board because I think the pressure's on this next session.
Yes.
So, attended the Mid-America Regional Council meeting yesterday. Just one of the high points. I can't go through everything. We don't have the time. Salary studies. It's becoming a huge issue for all the government agencies within the metropolitan area because they're doing salary studies every other year just to try to keep up and retain employees. So I think Mid-America Regional Council is going to get more involved with that, and so there'll be information available for the counties and the cities.
That's great.
And so we don't have to hire consultants because we're all going through the same thing, training people, and they're leaving. And it's not just police officers and EMS. It's parks workers, CDL drivers, it's mechanics, it's everything.
Doug, if I could speak on something, maybe you know that. One thing I've noticed, because I was speaking out to Lansing personnel the other day, is the people that have been on for 20 years or so, they've made this their home, they're tending to stay with it. But the newer people who are coming on, and the salaries probably could be better everywhere, are the ones that are taking a year or two, and then they're going somewhere else, or they jump to here, or they go somewhere else. So one way I look at it is maybe some of these salaries need to be going towards that lower end to help with the people that we're trying to bring into the county and the city.
Well, it definitely needs to go to the employees instead of a consultant.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Commissioner Culverson, and I know, has been involved in some salary studies that the
I
county
also.
commissioners hired a consultant. And I know when some of them we've worked with, it was pretty much, the commissioner said, we got this amount of money, we got to make it work. So that wasn't a real salary study.
And that
But
happens
I
a
think
lot.
One
That
of the
happens a
things
lot.
that we have to remember is that generationally we're dealing with the different mentality of young people in the workforce. And so as even the government as well as private sector have to recognize that, first of all, statistically speaking, younger people are not staying with jobs, their same jobs for as long a period of time as used to be. So that turning over is going to be, until it stabilizes, fairly consistent. But also, there's just a different attitude in the workplace, and things like that. And we have to adjust to that. It's kind of interesting that, I'm old, so I have certain standards that I think that are supposed to be met.
Me too.
And it's just little things like, what do you wear to an interview? Well, back in the day, you put on a suit and a tie and all those things, and you had to present yourself, or as a female, nicely dressed and heels and all, closed-toe shoes, all those things. And that's really not necessarily something that people need to, you can judge younger people at this point.
Commissioner Cos, I'd like to point out, you are not old.
Okay, well, I'm a little
And
bit
you-
older than you.
And I'm older than all of you. I think one of the things important that Vicki's saying too is a lot of places I know we do is called the exit interview. So you need to see exactly what the people that are leaving, why they're leaving. But going back to Commissioner Smith's thing, when you're paying $30,000, $60,000 for someone to come in and tell you something, and then it's not followed for whatever reason, you can't follow it, or the money's not there, or you decide you're not wanting to, you're throwing $30,000 to $60,000
Or
away.
150.
I was going to say 150.
Well, I'm just speaking of Lansing because
Right.
I'm with you a couple of those.
Right.
But when you ask for something, then you get it and you don't like it and you don't follow it, then folks think you're wasting that money. So I like the
That's why
idea of them
the
getting
Veterans
involved.
Account
There
is
needs to
gonna
be
be
involvement. I'm just saying, but we also, as we're people that are making those decisions and policies and things, that we have to really look at on the HR side and listen to our HR people about, changes and things that might be necessary
3 times.
in order to.
I think this board is supportive of that.
Yeah, Commissioners,
Yeah.
interesting that that's a topic, but when we look at the news today, UAW going on strike, one of their largest things that they're asking for is a 4-day work week.
Right, that's what
Pay is obviously the other side of that. They're asking for a lot more pay, but 4-day work week.
4-day work
And then
week,
when
which is-
Panasonic came in, one of the things they talked about is they survey their staff worldwide, not just nationwide, and they work a 4-day. Actually, they work a flexible where it's I think it goes 3, 2, 2, 2, 3.
Right, but
like
flex
that.
scheduling.
So
just
that
different
they work 12-hour shifts, but they get over half the year they're not at work, and that was more important to their employees than the just having all that time off versus working long days. They prefer to work the long days.
That's
So
what I was
think
getting
that,
at.
I think that just tells you the difference in the work schedule, work ethic, or not really ethic. They're still working the hours, but.
It's just a
What's
change in
important to
priorities.
people is the time off more so than the time away from work is what's more important. Versus, generationally, it was not uncommon for people to work 6 days a week. So.
And
Yeah,
look
if
at the
you
number.
drive an hour to and from work,
Yeah.
and you might as well stay and
Yep.
and have a day off. That's one less
No,
day
I'm
to
just
travel.
saying those are just some of the
Right.
things
No,
that
I
we have
know,
to
and
recognize and
that's why
look
I'm
at.
glad that they're
So it's good that they're
want to
looking
get
at that.
involved because it's not just one county, it's everybody, and it's cities, and it's government and private. So I'll have Basehor City Council meeting tonight, and I'll have Fairmount Township meeting tomorrow night, and then Friday I'll attend a retirement party out at the road department for Doug Lamas. He's probably 8 years. Really good worker. They'll probably have to hire 2 to replace him. So that's all I've got.
Mr. Stephen?
Well, today and this afternoon at 2, the KAC Legislative Affairs Committee's meeting, and we're going to be talking about the Constitutional Amendment SCR 1611 again, and also talking about LAVTR. So that's on the. I think is it at 2 o'clock? I think.
They still sticking with 4%.
Well, that's the current bill. I think they're talking change. Problem, if you change it, it's got to go back to the Senate. It's passed the Senate. It's ready to be voted on at 4%. But if they have, I don't know. That's the legislature.
Just 4.7 in 1973.
Let's see. Then we had I learned quite a bit on Thursday at the Elephant Club. Senator Gossage came and gave a presentation on Medicaid expansion. And I learned quite a bit about Medicaid expansion. And she is going to be attending a debate over Medicaid expansion at the League of Women Voters. I think it's on the 27th. I don't want to swear to that. But but I think that would be really interesting for people to attend and learn all the different sides to that issue. Because I think I think it's a multifaceted issue, and it's you're trying to help people that need help, and whatever it takes to get the help to them, the ones that are most needy, and whatever works the best. So.
And I'm also going to head off to a transit authority meeting this afternoon. Zoom it. I'm going to Zoom it instead of driving it. So if we don't have anything further, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Voting?
Aye.